In this video, I'm just going to look very quickly at some ideas, just general ideas for using a visualizer in any lesson, really. So we've looked at some maths ideas in the maths video, we looked at some English ideas in the English video, and I just want to talk about kind of generally using a visualizer in other lessons. I haven't got great resources for this one, I'm afraid, but I've just got a couple of things that I just want to talk through. So for example, one thing I like to use the visualizer for is kind of building up through, say, a science lesson, and you can use this in history as well with artifacts and things, but just putting something under the visualizer and just asking children what it is. So what's this? So there might be a historical artifact or a source that you put underneath to talk about, and obviously having it through the visualizer as a first-hand source and also a physical source just has a lot more power in some situations. So particularly looking at kind of historical artifacts or for geography or science, you know, something that you found round and about, a rock or some leaves, and just having those to kind of have a closer look at under the visualizer. So here's this. Now I could have got a picture of this online and said, what's this? But no, here's the actual stuff. So what's this? What's it made of? Do we think it's natural? Do we think it's man-made? And we can just ask lots of questions about whatever we put underneath. So then after that, I might put something else underneath. So, okay, how about this? What's this made of? Is it man-made? Is it natural? You know, where did it come from? What do we use it for? And then let's look at something else. So let's have a look at this one. Is that natural? Is it man-made? What is it? What do we use it for? And just asking the same questions about different items, and then see if they can guess what we're actually going to be talking about in the lesson. And hopefully they'll come to, we're going to talk about different materials and what things are made of and so on, and how we use them. And so that might kind of just start our lesson off and give a bit of a sense of wonder at the beginning of the lesson by just kind of just showing a little bit at a time, adding an extra thing at a time, and just making it just that little bit more kind of involved and interactive of thinking about it. And just having those actual concrete things just can spark off those questions and ideas. You might go on a local walk and pick up some leaves or things and put those underneath as well. So using your visualizer in a way that just brings to life kind of more concrete things, and also stops you having to do things like experiments on one table at the front where they've all got to crowd round. For some things, that's still going to be the best way and kind of get that sense of wonder around them. But for other things, you could do it underneath. What you'll find most visualizers also have is a way of capturing what's on the whiteboard or underneath your visualizer. So if I put those back underneath, I've got a little button at the top left here to be able to take a shot of what's under. And then you'll see on the left hand side it comes up with all my pictures that I've taken of whatever's under. So you can then reuse what you've been doing. So if you have done some modelling, so here down the bottom left you just about see that I was doing some maths modelling with dice. I took a picture of it, and so therefore we can see that. And I can go back to that. That just goes into a folder of photos on your computer. So then you can, when you're recapping in the next lesson, you can bring up those photos of what you did under the visualizer as well. So it's a way of kind of capturing what you're doing as well. So they pretty much all have, either on the visualizer itself or through the software like I have open here, some way of capturing that with a photo. I've also got a way that I can set up timed shots, and so I can, and in the settings I can change how long that time shot is for. So here you can see I can take 50 shots per minute or per hour. How long do I want to do it for? And so on, and set up all the different settings for that. And that means that you can put an experiment under the visualizer overnight. You'd have to leave your computer on, of course, or you could turn your monitor off overnight and just leave the computer on overnight or over the weekend. But it would then kind of show, you know, if you put cress to grow on a Friday, for example, you could then have a time-lapse video when you come back in on Monday of the cress growing over the weekend. Or, you know, if you had some, you know, if you had an incubator in school and you're waiting for kind of chicks to hatch or whatever it might be, you can put them under the visualizer and then you'll be able to see a time-lapse video when you come back in. So another way of, the mouldy bread experiment, where you put some bread in a sandwich bag, rather than just coming back on the Monday to see that it's mouldy, see that some of them are mouldy, you can actually watch back how that developed. So using the actual software of your visualizer, which is usually some sort of download or a disk that will come with your visualizer. You don't always need it because the computer will recognize the visualizer as a camera and you can use it that way, but the software can be really powerful as well. So do look out for any of the functionality of your visualizer software. And then the last one I just want to show you is, I find for computing the visualizer is really handy, because often we've got these kind of pieces of equipment and we're trying to explain how to use them, but actually putting them under the visualizer again is another way. So for example, the on-off switch on this is really tiny underneath, so bringing it up under the visualizer means I can show them exactly where to go to turn on their V-bots. So those kind of things where, again, I've seen people spend hours making PowerPoints with kind of little pictures of the equipment they've taken and then they've pointed to where the buttons are, you know, but this, I can just put it under the visualizer, saves me a lot of workload of making a huge resource for this. I can just pop it under the visualizer. Similarly with this is my tactile reader, so if my instructions are wrong, I can quickly model how to change the instructions around to make my blue bot go in the right direction and so on. Similarly, I use this for any kind of equipment that I'm sharing, and it also works really well for staff meetings as well. So being able to share on a staff meeting how they should use different resources that you've just brought into school, whether that's computing resources or science equipment or mathematical concrete resources, whatever it is. Don't forget that your visualizer can be really, really useful for staff meetings as well as lessons. And again, virtual staff meetings, you can share your visualizer view through Zoom or Teams or Meet, and I've done some videos on that as well, which you can access. So lots of different ways that you can use your visualizer in lots of different lessons. So do check out the other videos for maths, English, and how to share your visualizer virtually, as well as the video which gives you some of the principles of modelling under your visualizer. Thank you.